The customer doesn't come first. The employee does.
Yeah.
People raise their eyebrows when I say that.
Derrick Hall is the president and CEO of the Arizona Diamondbacks. 35 years in baseball, over $100 million in community giving, multiple top workplaces awards, and one moment in October 2023 that captured his entire leadership philosophy.
He takes the trophy, holds it up, we all go nuts, he hands it right to me. They end up coming to talk to me, and I wasn't expecting to speak. We're always going to be transparent, we're going to be honest, we're going to be vulnerable, and we're going to fall on the sword and take the blame. We have to make sure we treat our fans or our customers better than any team in sports, but that's not going to happen unless our employees feel respected, rewarded, acknowledged, recognized, developed, invested in. Almost 70% of the people have been here 10, 15 years. Culture is not only created by me and Joe. We're not dictating,
No.
They are.
Hi, Derrick. It's so great to be here with you.
Great to have you here.
Thank you. We're in this beautiful place. Can you share with our audience where we are?
Yes, Anita, this is Chase Field, home of the Arizona Diamondbacks, and we're actually in our private box where we watch the game, each game. It's myself and our managing general partner, and usually a former player or two, but it's a nice, quaint little spot and not a bad view.
It's a great view.
Yeah.
I was just sitting here. I just love it. We just finished batting practice. So there might be some other things getting ready to host the Braves tonight, right?
No doubt, yeah. So that was a lot of the early work, and now you'll see even more batting practice. So it's really nonstop.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then there's also, it looks like you can have fans down there?
We can, and so during the larger batting practice portion, we'll actually have people that are guests down there on the field, and the players come over. They do a great job interacting, signing autographs, taking photos, and it's a great experience for the families that go down there.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That is so cool. You've been so innovative with how you've connected the community with the team.
It's been incredible, and it's not. Thank you for saying I have, but I think when you say you mean all of us collectively.
All of you together.
Yeah, I would hope.
You as the broader team.
Yeah, it's the broader team, and we just celebrated surpassing $100 million in community giving.
I saw that.
Since our short inception.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's incredible to think. We've only been around since 2001, or I'm sorry, 1998. Was the first year. 1995 we really began, but we didn't start our community efforts until our first game in 98. And so for us to get to 100 million is a big accomplishment, big feat, but we're now focused on the next 100 million and who else we can impact in Arizona, because we really don't say no to many.
It's incredible. How does that impact the team, the whole collective team, knowing that they can have that kind of impact on their community? What has that done for your culture?
That's a great question, because culture, a big part of our culture is community.
Yeah.
And our players know it, our employees know it. Internationally, all of our employees know it. Our coaches, manager, ownership, everybody's on the same page with our social responsibility. The fact that we consider ourselves a community, without a doubt, a part of the community, and that we have that social responsibility to give back. We have a platform where we can be on that stage internationally and encourage our corporate partners and our fans and everybody to join in. But your question is good, because we teach our players, for example, at a very young age, when they get assigned to the minor leagues and they go to their minor league affiliate towns, that they should be a part of the community immediately. They should go to hospitals, they should go to schools. Not necessarily because there's a camera with them, but because it's the right thing to do. And by the time they get up here, they already know what's expected of them. And our guys are so generous at this level. They, on their own, go to the children's hospitals. They go off and they volunteer. They go to the Miracle League with kids that are able to play baseball in wheelchairs. And knowing how much they do, not only the time, but the money that they give, that they donate, the causes that are important to them, it's a huge part of our culture. And when you have 450 full-time employees, and when you have employees all across the world who are scouts, and 2,000 employees with part-time, full-time, yet everyone knows we have one common goal: to help every possible person that lives in this community. And this community is not just Phoenix. We're not the Phoenix Diamondbacks, we're the Arizona Diamondbacks.
That's right.
We're really helping every corner of this great state.
Oh, that's incredible. So many people ask me all the time, how do you engage younger generations? I'm guessing the people on the field are younger than you and I.
They are.
Right? And so what has this one mission, one focus done to engage people of all ages across that staff of 2,000?
No, it's a great question. And when you look at our workforce, it's very diverse when it comes to age and backgrounds and ethnicity and religion and everything. But we focused on that. We realized that those gaps could have been problematic, and I think they were early on. And we wanted to figure out how to bridge those gaps and make sure that we could all talk to one another, understand one another, work together. And I think at the end of the day, not only do you have to go through training, and you go through some of that gap training to make sure that you can speak the same language and understand backgrounds and where they came from and respect one another and understand one another. But then I think over time, as everyone's on the same page when it comes to a mission, or in our case, the circle of success, or what we're trying to build, and build is our values program and theme, everyone, regardless of what that age gap or what that gender gap or where they may be from, they're all going to get along. They're all going to communicate, and it is one team.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, you mentioned two things I want to learn more about. I read about Build and Circle of Success. It seems like Build comes first as the foundation, and then Circle of Success. Can you walk us through how those came together and how you use them?
I sure can. So years ago, I think it was probably 2007, I found myself over and over saying the same things at employee meetings to our staff. And it was basically what encompasses the circle of success. It's about fan experience, and it's about culture and community. Those things we can control. We can't always control the performance on the field, yet it still has to be a main pillar. And as I'm hearing myself say it over and over again, and as we're straightening our accounting books out for the first time in a long time, we figured those are our 5 main pillars. That's our focus. If we're not focused on those areas, we're not doing our job. And that is financial efficiency and fan experience and culture and community and performance. And it's both for the team and the employees off the field. We're all focusing on those. But then we realized at one point we really didn't have the right values. And we had a values program, and everybody had little pocket values, and they could read their values, right? It was nice. But we realized there needed to be a new set of values. And that's when actually our senior vice president of people and culture, Joe Walsh, and I sat down, and we started to look for an acronym and what is really important to us. And it was BUILD, and it's belonging, it's unified, it's integrity, and longevity and development. It made sense, build, because we are always building, right? We're building hopefully a championship team on the field. We're building a world-class culture. We're building leaders each and every day. Everything that we focus on is building. We're building a family of corporate partners. We're building the best fan base, we hope, one day in all of Major League Baseball, even though we're so young. So BUILD has been the perfect acronym for who we are values-wise.
Yeah, that's incredible. And then you have a circle that you do on top of that. Can you share a little bit about how it expands out culturally in some of the programs? And there's also something about being able to say yes.
That's a big one, right? That's a big part of it. So as you walk down the hallway, you'll see that circle of success, posted in the hallways and in people's offices or cubicles or cubbies, and everybody knows what that is. But then it does branch out to even more. So within each one of those areas of focus, you drill down even further, and where does it apply? Where does it fit? We have other acronyms where it's and phrases that we live by, slogans. One is one fan at a time. There are some markets, big, large markets, where all they have to do is put out a pocket schedule and open the gates, and they're going to get 3 million fans, right? Here, it's a little more difficult. We're a very young fan base. We're growing as a population, obviously, but it's a very hot summer, and that's our season. People like to escape the heat. We want them here. We want them indoors. So we're trying to create fans for life, and with one fan at a time. So every phone call, every email, every text has to be answered, and we really do a good job of that. It's the relationship that we build with our fans. We also created an acronym, FOTSI, and I used to go upstairs and have a meeting space with all of our employees, and I would get there and say, look, we have to find a way to say yes over and over again. Let's not be that team. Let's not be that company that says no all the time. Unless you're in security, find a way to say yes, and saying it over and over again. And then our in-house attorney came to me one day and said, I looked it up, we copyrighted it, we've got it, it's trademarked. And so I've had more outside companies and more teams come to us and say, I know it's copyrighted, but do you mind if we borrow it and we use FOTSI too? Because it's really works, and it's who we should be. Of course, do it. We're thrilled that people are using it, but you should find a way to say yes. We're also in the business of creating memories and creating joy in the lives of so many. And when you have a game where you lose in the last inning, or you get walked off, that's tough. Yeah. But if your fans feel good about what you do, about the way you treat them, about the value of your product, about the way you present yourself and represent yourself in the community, they're going to be loyal to you, and they're still going to feel good about you. And we'll find a way to win even when we lose.
Yeah, that's incredible, because it is an experience for everybody that participates together.
It is. And
Yeah.
that's a huge part, Anita, too, of the culture.
Yeah.
So everybody understands in the fan experience, that experience here begins when you get out of your car and you talk to the parking lot attendant, or when you walk through that gate and you talk to the GSR, the usher, who's out there in 115 degrees,
That's right.
handing out a bobblehead and trying to keep a smile on his or her face. It's the person that tears your ticket or pours your soda. We don't do that. So I can talk about how important it is that we are treating our fans better than anyone, yet at the end of the day, it comes down to those folks. So if they understand how important that experience is, and that it's a pure reflection on each and every one of them with the same goal, that becomes a huge part of the culture, the fan experience.
So we were just talking about, while we were listening to music, to Tony, who is your front, I think it says front person experience. It's not front desk experience.
Right. He's not a receptionist. He is our first impression specialist.
I love it. First impression
That's
specialist.
Right. That's right.
He's been here since 2012, and he's just a joy.
He's unbelievable, and that shows you just the pride that everybody wears, and you saw it with Tony. They wear this logo each and every day, and they wear it with pride. They have a smile on their face. It's whistle while you work. You walk through our hallways, and in the old days, when I first got here, and this was a cultural issue, when you got here, just like most sports teams, every photo on the wall was something that happened on the field.
Yeah, it's players.
Yeah, it's the players. Yet you have 400 plus people coming through those hallways every day. Players aren't going through that hallway.
Well, players aren't here since 2012.
Right. That's it. Yeah, that too. But then they're downstairs, right?
Yeah.
You have to be careful that you don't create that divide.
Yes.
A lot of teams have the them or they wear the suits, and we make sure we don't have that. We're one good family. Yet now, when you walk down the hallway, you'll see a picture of our team celebrating. Then you'll see a picture of our employees, who we call team players, our team players working and laughing and smiling and what they're doing in the community, and then another team shot and then another team player shot. It's been remarkable, but that again, that's what you have to build to make sure that you don't have that divide.
Yeah.
And everybody like Tony, each and every one of them will tell you they love working here, and it's a grind. Baseball is, you have 162 games.
I never thought I'd hear you say that.
Oh, it is.
It just seems like magic to me.
Oh, it
here.
is. It's magical, but it's a
magical
grind.
yes.
It is. I mean, I've been in the game 35 years, but you get here at 7:30 or 8 in the morning, and if it's a game day, you don't get home until 11 o'clock or midnight. You miss so many of your kids' activities if you have children, and back to back. Absolutely. It's,
weekends, nights, holidays.
Without a doubt. But everyone still loves doing it. And if they leave and they go do something else, they realize the grass wasn't greener. We had so many people that have come back.
Boomerangs. I love a good boomerang.
We have lots of boomerangs. And then when you look at build again, and the one letter L, which is longevity, as you walk down the hallway, you'll also see outside of every office, it's got their name, it's got their title, and since the year. And almost 70% of the people have been here 10, 15 years. And most of them started as interns or entry-level positions, and they worked their ways up to be directors and managers and vice presidents. When I sit in our VP meetings every Wednesday and I look around, I'm so proud, because either they've been only there the whole time as a career, or they started as an intern and moved their way up. They left to go get a better job and now come back, and they're in that position as a leader in this organization. It's rewarding as could be.
I bet. Well, and I read somewhere that you also started as an intern for Florida State. And so what did you learn during those, I think it was almost 12 seasons that you were interning there? What did you learn? What did that teach you? How impactful was that to your foundation, to who you are today, and how you build teams?
A big part of it. So I was with the Dodgers for the 12 to 13 years. An intern in the Florida State League took up about a year and a half, maybe 2 years, and then I was lucky enough to go over in management role in LA. But before that, I was in Vero Beach, Florida, which is the Florida State League. And while I was there, I mean, you do everything. You really do in the minor leagues. So I was there for spring training, but also for the Florida State League Summer League, all of our games. And you pull the tarp when it rains. You're the one that goes there early in the morning and opens the lock to let the cleaning crew go in. You're doing the announcing on weekends over the PA. You're selling every ad for the book that you sell, your souvenir book. You're stocking the shelves but that taught me everything. First of all, there's a huge appreciation for what goes into putting on a show. It's because, especially in the minor leagues, the fans really don't care about the wins and losses. They're not attached to the players. That's really at the big league level. They just want to go and have fun. They want to have a family outing, a great fan experience. That taught me that. But it also taught me the importance of having the relationship with your customer. And when you're in the minor leagues, you get to know every season ticket holder by name. You know what her favorite beer is. You know if she likes the frozen lemonade instead of a beer. You know what they want on their hot dogs. But you know everything about each and every one of your fans. And if you can take that and take it to the next level in the big leagues, you're going to succeed. And I remember when I had my opportunity to go to LA, my dad, who was really my mentor, said to me, everywhere you've gone, you've always had respect for everybody. And we had to, because I felt like I got started at such a young age and I got propelled into a leadership role early on. Same thing happened with him. And when you think culturally, his culture, he grew up in the newspaper business and he became a manager and he had people working for him that were a lot older than him. And he felt insecure about that. In fact, he went and dyed his hair gray so he would look older. And went the reverse way, right? And I felt the same way. So I move in and I've got individuals who had been there for years and they had so much seniority over me and they're thinking, here's this 24-year-old coming in here and he's going to tell me at 40 what to do. But they quickly can earn, you can earn their respect. They'll gain respect for you. But it's all about listening, treating people well. And my dad told me when I came over, you've been successful because you've respected everybody, you've treated them well, and you've known everybody's name in the organization. And you need to continue that even at the major league level.
That's something you're really known for, is knowing everybody's name. And so what a great principle.
Well, it's so easy to do, and they are family. So if you go downstairs and you know every security guard's name and you know as many ushers' names as you can, it makes them feel special. It makes them feel welcome. It makes them feel like part of the family because they are. Again, they're the ones who have to physically touch, our fans each and every day and customers and build those relationships. So we need to know their names. And as I walk down the hallway, we know all of our employees' names. They know all our names. If you talk again, you focus on and talk about cultural issues. When I first got here, I didn't feel like everyone knew everybody. I didn't feel like everyone was pulling on the same page or on the same side of the rope. And we had silos. And I just said, that's it. There aren't going to be any silos. We're all going to help each other out. We're all going to pitch in. We're not going to be territorial. We have one great mission. And we're all going to have an open door policy. And people are still amazed that myself and all of our leaders have an open door all the time. Unless we have to have a closed door meeting, my door's always open and everybody's welcome to come and say hello or ask advice or let me know what they're unhappy about. That's all welcome and it's good.
Yeah, it makes for a great environment. Something else, though, that you have unique in your background that I want to make sure we highlight is you're an excellent communicator. That was that managerial role, right, that you went over in. And I think that the role of communications, my greatest partners as an operator are my comms team, right? And it makes it come together. How has your background in communications, do you think, led into all of the magic that you've created? It's
been a big impact. I think it's the way I lead. I like to lead by communicating and by being very open and honest and I think I'm a good listener as well, not just a good speaker, but it's been a big part of it. Also having a little, the media background. I also know what people's jobs are and just how important it is to give people a good soundbite, but to be able to represent the organization when I'm out doing interviews, knowing what to say, knowing how to say it is very important.
It is a habit. It takes a lot of practice.
It is. And for example, right now we're going through a huge situation where we had put up a brand new, beautiful LED ribbon board and fans are upset. And because it's now blocking view that they used to have. So they don't have 100% view now. They've lost a little bit. Well, rather than ignoring them, rather than saying, oh, well, it wasn't our fault, it was the installation, take the blame, take the credit and say, I'm upset too, and I'm upset for you, and we're going to find a solution. But doing that publicly, and I think that teaches a lesson to the rest of our workforce too, to say, oh, okay, it's all right to admit what is possibly a mistake, and how can we make it better since we can't necessarily just correct it. We can't just make it go away.
You're not going to put lipstick on it.
No,
that's what I love about this.
Can't.
You're going directly to the issue and say, yes, this isn't awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
And that should be a part of our culture too. We're always going to be transparent. We're going to be honest. We're going to be vulnerable, and we're going to fall on the sword and take the blame. As a leader, I think it's very important that I don't blame anyone else. I don't say the project manager messed this up. I did, right?
Yes.
It comes to me, and I've responded to every single letter that I've gotten or email that I've gotten from fans up there saying, what are you going to do about this? Well, here's what we'll do together.
Yeah, yeah. So how would you guide? So I heard you talk about family, and I used to use that term, and people would come to me and say, but Anita, you don't fire your family.
Oh.
And I said, well, I guess you just don't invite them to holidays.
Right. Right.
But how does that term like partner with performance? And how have you kept that feeling and let people know that we're still here to build one of the best teams we've ever seen?
That's really well put. And, family is what I achieve. I try and achieve each and every day. We work here more hours than we are at home with our actual family. So this had better be family. And I encourage people to, because I had said I lost so much time, especially in California with the commutes and missing Halloween, couldn't get home in time before the kids were already asleep. And I don't want anyone to miss those days here. And, we have phones now, we have tablets, we can get work done away from the office. I don't need everybody at every single game because I had to do that for all those years. But if you have a concert, go see your child. If you have a game, go to that game. If you can bring them here, bring them here. They're welcome in the hallways. It is a family. And yeah, I know it's tough when you have to either discipline or terminate, a family member. Yet the rest of your family gets even stronger and your bond gets stronger if they know the proper decisions were made. As bad as they feel for their brother or sister, they know is probably the right move. So your family got even stronger. When you treat all of your kids at home the same way, right? And you don't show any favoritism and you do discipline when you have to or scold when you have to because you're teaching them, it's very similar, right? Just because they're your family, you don't just let them get away with whatever they need to get away with. And that too is part of culture of building a family.
Yeah.
And it makes you stronger. If you go through a big challenge, cultural challenge, the pandemic.
Yeah.
I've never been through something like that. No one had. And Anita, there was no playbook.
No.
And so we're hearing, you have to furlough people. Well, we never even knew what a furlough was.
Yeah.
And so we furloughed folks. Never should have done that because you're taking some of your best employees and you're saying,
we don't need you.
We don't need you right now. We can't use you. We're not going to pay you. And then we're going to want you back when we need you.
Yeah,
and
we'll
we
call
have to
you.
use you again. And by then, they had to go get another job or they're upset to have to come back. And I would never have done it that way. I mean, you have to make difficult decisions, but, that was not consistent with who we are.
Yeah.
And we learned.
Yeah, we all did.
Yeah.
We all did. So with that, with the family and still making tough decisions, I hear our constituents saying, well, then you've got to be able to say no.
Versus the FOTSI?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think, when you look at FOTSI is find a way to say yes is more toward, it's outward, it's exterior. So it's how we treat our corporate partners and our players and our fans. It's not so much what happens internally. I mean, we know internally you have to be able to say no. The beauty is making sure that everybody gets on the same page afterwards and that no is not offensive to anybody. And so I think we have such a comfortable and positive workplace that we do hear a lot of no, we do hear a lot of challenging. So it isn't FOTSI inside the walls, yet once we leave that room, we're all on the same page. And I feel strongly about that. And if that's not taking place somewhere, it's probably an indication that team player, that employee is probably not a good fit culturally because that's not who we are.
Yeah, makes sense. So, but you also said something else interesting. You put team players ahead of field players. Can you share how you thought about that and how that transpired and how it works?
Yeah. I mean, again, those guys down on the field mean so much to me. They're what we do. And I have a great relationship with the players, yet unfortunately, players come and go.
Yeah.
They age out or they get traded or they get released. There's a lot that can go on. The roster changes a lot. That roster out there, like I talked about the longevity, it doesn't change much. So that family portion, the team player versus the field player is very important to me. And I've always said, for example, the way we treat our employees, and this is the number one lesson in our culture, the customer doesn't come first. The employee does.
Yeah.
People raise their eyebrows when I say that. And I say, well, look, ultimately, we have to make sure we treat our fans or our customers better than any team in sports. But that's not going to happen unless our team players, our employees feel respected, rewarded, acknowledged, recognized, developed, invested in. And when they are, and they are, they in turn will then treat our customers the way that we expect them to.
Yeah. Yeah. It really works so well. So you have a great partner, Joe Walsh,
Yeah.
that does this with you. So talk a little bit about that partnership. In preparation, we had said, is there a time where you and Joe didn't see eye to eye? And you were like, no. How is that possible?
It's incredible how aligned we really are. And I think going through the process of hiring his position, I needed someone who was truly focused and embracing culture and the importance of culture. That's my culture keeper. So I have to make sure Joe, we have a weekly meeting scheduled where it's an update meeting, yet aside from that, we're meeting and talking all the time. If there's a problem with an employee, he and I were probably on the same page before we even said what we're going to do. And we are so consistent with how we deliver messages and how we talk to one another. I can't recall a time where we had a confrontation or a disagreement, maybe over budgetary issues, but that's going to happen. But when it comes to culture, we really never have. We've done things together. We sit down, we dream big. How can we invest even more in our employees and our team players? And we thought, we are thrusting all these people into, because we believe in developing from within, we believe in that longevity. We are thrusting people into management roles and they're not ready. And we can tell, they're struggling a little bit because they've never been in that role. So we created a leadership academy. And, we have 25 to 30 individuals that we hand select, that we get nominated from their supervisors. We put them through this academy, which is a year-long academy, one class a week. We bring in speakers. They have presentations and projects. They learn different leadership styles. They learn about confrontation. They do a DISC assessment to learn how to communicate with one another. And it's been amazing. We're in 8.0 right now with our Leadership Academy, year number 8. But that's something that Joe and I feel strongly about, making sure that we continue to come up with initiatives like that are like Nectar.
Yeah.
One of the greatest things we could have done was bring Nectar in, because we believe in recognizing our employees. What better way than that? Because you're not just doing it one-on-one, you're doing it in front of the entire organization that could read and follow, and then they can reward one another too. Because culture is not only created by me and Joe. And, we don't say this is our culture. Culture's created from the bottom up. Culture's got to be created and understood and agreed upon by the employees. They're the ones that bring that culture to life. They're the ones that make it even better. Mm-hmm. And so we just have to make sure that we continue to add to it and that it continues to flourish and that it doesn't get stale or go in reverse.
Yeah, it can't get stale. It has to continue to evolve.
Right.
Hi, I'm Joe Walsh. I'm the Senior Vice President of People and Culture here at the Arizona Diamondbacks. Does your organization have core values? Decision-making ties to values, behavior in meetings ties to values. Values drive behaviors. Wouldn't you want your employees to know what those values are? And when they're behaving in such a way that lines up with those values, wouldn't you want them to know about it? Nectar does that. Every shout out that goes through our Nectar platform and system has to have a value assigned to it. I said this when we launched Nectar. I said, this is about catching your fellow employee doing something right and shouting them out.
And so you've talked about some big challenges that you've gone through. Is there a process that you run through to say, okay, here's the screen that's happening, or here's this team member that's really upset? How do you work through and overcome challenges with this framework of build around you? I
believe that at the end of the day, all of our leadership team knows how I am as a leader and what's important to me and how I want this place to be the Disneyland of baseball. So how can we get all of our fans happy? How can we make the experience better than any? So we put our heads together, and I think we, again, all knowing what that end result should be, that's where we end up going. And it's been a terrific journey, and I don't think it's been a struggle at all.
Yeah.
We've had, of course, you're always going to have cultural challenges, but you get over them because we just ask ourselves, what should we be doing? What would we do? And what would be consistent with us? We have a definition of who we are as a team. I'll give you a perfect example. We'll have on opening day, everybody gets so excited about the national anthem and the first pitch.
Yes.
And so you get in a room and you've got folks saying, I think we should ask so-and-so because he was just on American Idol and he lives here. And you have someone else saying, well, for, the first pitch, we think it should be this guy who's a World War II veteran. Great. All that's great. But after we go through all of our thoughts and we ask ourselves, who are we? We come down to the right answer. This year, for example, we had a young boy who ended up getting sepsis at age 3, double leg amputee, lost some fingers, beautiful kid, just the most positive boy. And he's a big baseball fan, big D-back fan. We had him come out and throw out the first pitch, told his story, and the place went crazy.
Yeah.
That followed by the anthem to be played by a 21-year-old blind young man who taught himself how to play the clarinet, autistic and just fabulous, and he performed. And at the end of that, we all said, that's who we are. And through email, we're all connected with each other.
I just got goosebumps.
Yeah,
but you are.
I get chills.
You're the fan base.
We're fans.
Yes.
We're the biggest fans of the team.
You are. Yeah. So that makes me think about, you had a pretty big health scare when you were 42.
Mm-hmm.
My husband also had prostate cancer at 42.
Oh, and he's doing well?
He's doing well.
Good?
He's
Okay,
doing well.
great.
Yes. And so you were very open
Yes.
about that, which is unique. I've worked for many CEOs that have had prostate cancer, and some are not open about it. I mean, there's various different ways. It is very personal. Could you share kind of your thought process and how what you learned from that experience and your openness with it?
I sure can. The first thing I did was obviously talk to my wife, and I let her know I think I should be out there. I should be forward. I should be public about it. Are you okay with it? Are you comfortable? And she said, if you didn't, it wouldn't be you. That's not, who you are authentically, because I looked at it as everything happens for a reason. I now have the opportunity and possibility to, again, be on that stage and just demonstrate what I've gone through and how others can avoid it or others can get through it like I did.
Yeah.
And, men are very stubborn, and they don't like going to the doctors, and, we're always in denial.
That's not a fun process that y'all went through for that.
It wasn't fun, but I thought it was important for me to hold a press conference right away.
Yeah.
First, I got with all of my staff and I let them know, that I was going through it and that it wasn't going to impact me negatively in any way. And then I let the world know through a press conference, and then created a website and a foundation, because I felt like I should drive education. I should drive the awareness and let men know, like anything, go get tested. They would tell you, wait till you're 50, not anymore, get in there 30, 35. If you have a history, get in there as early as you can. Know what your marker is. Anything that is caught early enough, detected early enough, can be treated. So that's why I felt like I should get out there and do that. And then years later, my wife, triple negative breast cancer. She's not as public, but she makes herself available to everybody and anybody that wants to talk about it. And she helps thousands of women since she's been over it, and used to be really a death warrant, and not anymore.
The technology is incredible.
It's amazing. Yeah, and the power of prayer too.
It is. Yes, we all need that.
Yes,
that is awesome. So one of the things that you've shared consistently through our time together is your openness and transparency. Whether it's your personal health situation, whether it's unhappy fans, you're just really open about what that is. Is that nature or nurture? Is it your communications background?
I think it's observational and experiential. So I think as I was trying to shape and form who I was as a leader at a very young age, I watched others. And I would say, I want to be like him. I want to be like her. I don't want to be like him.
Yeah.
And when I saw some that weren't as honest, because being in leadership, I knew what the truth was. And then I would watch a leader get up in front of the company and say almost the opposite or not open up. I thought, that's who I don't want to be. And then when I watched others, I respected and admired when they were honest. And I watched how it impacted all of us as employees, saying, thank you. I know that was a tough subject, and thank you for being honest with us. So I knew I wanted to be that way. And then as you practice it over time, and this is the experiential part, when you hear back from employees, sitting down with some of our interest groups, I just did with our working women's group and our working parents, and they both had questions about me as a parent. And I went into, we weren't perfect. I think my wife is the best mother ever, but here are the mistakes we made.
Yeah.
And here are the mistakes my kids made. And then you talk about that, and you leave and you get emails from them and phone calls saying, I can't believe how vulnerable you were. Thank you so much. Can I share it with my spouse? Well, of course.
Yeah.
So I think when you see the appreciation on the other end, you realize you're doing the right thing, and it encourages you to do even more.
Yeah. And it is authentically who you are.
It is.
Yeah.
I think it's inherently a part of me, and it is. I mean, the fact that my wife, when it came to the cancer, asking her if I should go publicly, she said, it wouldn't be you if you didn't. So I think that's authentic, and you have to be real. You have to be who you are.
Yeah, definitely.
Can't try and be somebody else.
That is the biggest thing that I want people to take out of this, is that you're taking who you are and you're amplifying that with the help of the team.
Correct.
And I think all leaders and heads of people need to do that same thing. You've got to find your own version of it.
I think so too. So when you asked me about Joe, when you have a CEO and you have a head of HR,
Yeah.
if the head of HR is not happy with the leadership style or the personality or the direction of the leader, he or she shouldn't probably be working for that individual. But since he is, he knows who I am. We understand where I want the company to go, where I want our employees to succeed, how I want them to succeed. And so it works, right? So he gives me everything that I need, knowing that it is what I want. And if he wasn't happy, he wouldn't be here, or he would say it, we'd figure out another direction to go. But you really need that. You need that support, but it takes the buy-in too. So I think the head of HR has to really believe in the style and the direction of the CEO in order for that to work, because then he or she will provide that for him.
You know, that has been a consistent theme that we've received in this conversation. So I just want to like double down on it, is that you are who you are. If I am your head of people, the chances of me changing you are low, right?
Perfect example.
And
Yeah.
so I need to go find a partner that I align with. But a lot of heads of people are like, I want to change you.
Yeah.
And that's not going to work. I'd
that's
say
it.
it. I'm like, you got to go find another home.
Yeah, and Joe can't put me in a position where he knows it's not going to be authentic, or
Right.
or hey, would you mind saying this? He would never do that because he knows I can't. And it does work. It's a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
But it has to be.
It has to be.
Yeah.
It has to be. Okay. Well, this has been such a treat. And I know we've got to get the music back on for the players.
Music
That's
is
priority.
coming back on.
Big
Yep.
game tonight.
Yep.
So 2 final questions that we've asked everybody.
Sure.
The first is, do you have a culture crush? Is there anyone out there like you that's doing great work that you admire?
Well, I think, looking back in time, like I mentioned, my father was my mentor, and as I said, and there were times where he would take me as a little kid to work, and here he was, a young executive in the newspaper business, and I would watch him, and I would see that his employees wanted to run through a wall for him, and he knew everybody's name, and he was joking with them, but wanted to know about their family, and he took his leaders to dinner, and he took his leaders to his house for barbecues, and I just watched it, and I said, I want to be like him. People wanted to be around him all the time. The other was Peter O'Malley, who was my first owner in baseball with the Dodgers. And the O'Malley family, they're historic, they're iconic in baseball. And he really got me my start. And I watched him and I observed him, and there were a few things that I really admired. First, I think we were the first company inside of sports, outside of business, that was named best place to work. And
I know, that was incredible.
It was amazing, and he really wanted that. That was important to him. And likewise, we have had top workplaces year after year, which is great. Again, that's a credit to the employees. But I watched him, and when I was an intern, he didn't even know who I was, and they had a community program going on. It was a workplace program where you're raising money, much like a United Way. And he came up to me, it's in spring training, and he stopped me and he said, I was looking at the list of employees that were giving, and I saw that you weren't on that list. And I thought, wow, how does he even know who I am? And so I said, well, with all due respect, Mr. O'Malley, I don't make that much. And without skipping a beat, he said, then don't give that much. And I'll never forget that. It was give something. If you have the money, give the money. If you have the time, give the time. If you have the passion, give your passion, but always give something. And
that's gold.
Something I'll never forget.
Oh, that's incredible.
That's a bit of a culture crush right there.
Yes. Yeah, I have one now too for him. Yes, that's amazing.
I would add one more if I could.
Do it, yes.
Yeah, so our managing general partner, Ken Kendrick, who I've been working with for over 20 years, and he and I we're great partners. We recently went to the World Series in 2023. We go over and do the impossible. We have to win Game 6 and Game 7 in Philadelphia.
That's
Nobody
glued
thought we
to
would.
the TV.
We win those 2 games, and it's a really tough place to win. We win those games. We go on stage, and first off, I'm not thinking that I'm going to speak, because typically what happens is they'll talk to the coach or the manager, they'll talk to the owner, and they'll talk to the MVP.
Yeah.
Just happened that way. Sometimes the GM who works for us. So I'm up there on stage, not thinking anything. They hand the trophy to Ken. They want to talk to him first. He takes the trophy, holds it up. We all go nuts. He hands it right to me. So I'm holding the trophy. They end up coming to talk to me, and I wasn't expecting to speak, but all I did was talk about how important this was for me, because this is a win for our employees and our staff and our team players. And I'm talking about the team players over and over again. And by the way, they emailed me that night, so many of them saying, I heard you. Thank you so much. We heard you. It was about us. And we sit down right before Ken and I get away from all the mayhem. We get off the field. We go to this little private spot waiting for the buses just by ourselves. And I said, Ken, why did you just hand me the trophy? You held it for a second and gave it right to me. And he said, why wouldn't I?
No.
And I thought, that's very meaningful. He said nothing, but he said a lot.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Powerful.
It's giving it away.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's what I'm learning from you is that you can have it, but you have to give it to others and let them grow and shine.
Oh, that's great. That's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. So the one question, so we'll get a question from you for the next interview that we do.
Oh.
But the question coming out of our last interview is a hot topic right now. What or how do you see AI affecting your people operations and what you're doing here for the team in the next 5 or 10 years?
Isn't that interesting? Because so many people out there in the workforce are worried about AI taking jobs. And we have such a pioneering group. And I'm always saying we have to be pioneers. And when you go through our office, you see that it's the People and Innovation Center. We're all about innovation. Well, they know if we're going to take it to the next level, how do we do it with AI? It's AI in technology. It's AI on the baseball field. It's AI in ticket sales. You know, our best salesperson is an AI salesperson. And no one's negatively impacted that or offended by that or feeling threatened by that. In fact, they're embracing it and saying, how can we do even more? Doesn't mean we're going to lose jobs. Doesn't mean we're going to get rid of our workforce. We're just going to enhance everything we're doing with AI. I think if you look the other way or ignore it or say, oh man, this is going to hurt our culture, you're not thinking the right way.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we care about the success of this organization. We all know if we're going to do our jobs, we have to figure out a way to do it with AI.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, what will your question be for our next guest?
Well, my question would be, how do you encourage your employees to be as innovative as possible? Because innovation to me is very important because you have to empower them, yet in so many different settings, you have to ask yourself, am I really empowering them enough to be innovative? And my question about that innovation is, how do you then react to any negative results that they have or any mistakes that they make? Because in my opinion, you have to hope they make mistakes because they're going to learn from those mistakes. They can't repeat it, but you're also showing them, take the innovative steps, come up with the innovation and creativity, maybe borrow something from somebody else who did it really well, just make it better. But then how are you going to deal with problems or the mistakes that you make afterwards?
So I've got to ask you then, how does that happen here? Because your team has been so innovative.
And we do it. And they do stumble, but they know they can. And they're not worried about losing jobs. And they're taking chances. And I'd say 7 out of 10 times, they're great results. You're going to have some stinkers, but that's all right. You're going to learn from it. You're not going to make those mistakes again. And you're going to teach others the mistakes that you made along the way too. Yeah. But you're empowered. You get to make those decisions. We don't tell you what decisions you can make. You can make decisions, bring your thoughts to us and your ideas to us, like culture. So we have each month we have our President's Council. Our President's Council is made up of our employees of the month and a group of VPs. We all sit together in the boardroom and we go over the next President's Council member, which is the next employee of the month, and we all vote. We all talk about that individual. More importantly, at the end of the meeting, we all go over culture ideas. So that group makes culture ideas and comes up with the ideas for the organization. Not us. We're not dictating. No. They are. And we will tell them in that meeting, like, we already do that, or no, we can't do that. Here's why. But again, they feel like they can be innovative enough. They can make mistakes in front of us. It's how you deal with it. So I would ask any individual in this seat, do you let them take that initiative to be innovative and creative and pioneering and bring you thoughts and ideas? Do you let them execute? And then how do you solve that problem afterwards if they make a mistake? How do they learn from it?
Yeah, incredible. This has been such a treat. Thank you for hosting us. Thank you for letting us share in the middle of your beautiful stadium. Derrick, we're grateful.
Thanks,
Thank
Anita.
you.
So glad you're here. Appreciate you.
Thank you.